So now I know personally God gives mercy. Just a lot of people that don't know that, and that's all they need to know, because it stopped me in my tracks when I realized his mercy was still available, even though I had made horrible decisions. And so how many people will it stop in their tracks if they can hear this story, if they can find out that his mercy is available in the middle of the most horriblest decisions we make willingly sometimes.
Hello, this is Mark Sobowitz with the Clarion Voice, and today we're pleased to invite as our guest Azar Moore. Azar, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Tell us what's going on in your life right now, because I know you're involved in a couple of groups here and there that you're developing. What are you involved with now, and what is your focus?
Right now, our focus is we've started a prayer group, a men's group, with the goal of building a core to begin to pull some of the homeless men that are across the street from where we meet up into. We've built a prayer group up, obviously, as a foundation for coverage for everything that we're doing ministry-wise. Also just as an intercessory group to reach out over the community and any different ministries that want to be involved in that. So right now, that's what we're doing. We're actually starting a Celebrate Recovery. I won't say Celebrate Recovery because we have Life Recovery Bibles. So we're doing a Life Recovery, an addiction group that we're starting this Sunday too. So
I see. As far as dealing with the homeless in your prayer group, have you had a good response to what the work that you're trying to do? Are you finding that relating to these people is something that is gaining some traction? As
I would say so, yeah. Me and my wife have actually been planting seeds and putting in some personal work with the homeless for the last couple of years. Just by the way of cigarettes, meals, just going over to the park, and I'll go over there every weekend and spend a couple hours and just sit around with them. And I've actually gotten to the point where I've been accepted into their core group as a normal, so I can come relate with them, talk with them. They'll do their interactions or whatever's going on in a way where I'm allowed to be there. So I can say definitely I made some headway. As far as spiritually, what it's allowed me to do is just get to know some of their personal needs, what I could pray over, what I could do personally to solve some of those needs, which some of it's just small financial things. But what it's built is it's established relationship where they know who I am, they trust me, they believe I'm genuine. So as I begin to share what we're doing across the street with these groups, the goal is to begin to pull them over there. They're interested, but more than anything, I think they're interested in getting out their situation, some of them, and some of them need some help. And so we're trying to pull them over there to these core groups so that we could begin to establish some kind of support system for them. They don't know how to do these things, and those things are vital when you're trying to battle homelessness, addiction, and all the other, there's mental issues going on with some of those guys over there. So to answer your question directly, yes, I believe we're making great headway relationally, but we have not made any major headway on any of the things that they need because we don't have the resources yet. We're still trying to build community.
But you feel like developing relationships with these men is helping to at least give them an opportunity. That if you want to help them in some tangible way, then the relationship that you've developed with them is allowing you to do that.
No, definitely, that's important. I think even in their immediate needs always are physical, financial. But as far as me, my goal is to try to find some way to get in there spiritually and make a difference. So right now, I think just with the acceptance of the relationship and the being able to see what's going on with them, what they're really struggling in because the facades are down, and then being able to tackle that in prayer, that right now is the only thing we can equate to success, which isn't really a tangible thing. But to me, it's an in way. So, but we'd like to get to a point where we have some resources and a way to get those people out of the situation. But So that is the future goal of what we're progressing to build and produce. But
Are you getting support from other groups or other?
there are some other groups in the community that are outreaching already to the homeless out there. We are beginning to try to liaison with them. We wanted to create something that was respectable and even had some kind of consistency before we just approached a lot of people. So we haven't made many headway on that. But I do see that there's other people in the community with the interest toward them. And so we would love to begin to come alongside with them and complement what they're doing and have them, what they're doing, complement us and find a way to go a little bit further maybe than just bringing food down there, because we're going to get those people to a place where they're not down there anymore and where they're better and where they're walking in freedom. And so it's going to take more than just plates of food, not to degrade the fact that people are taking down plates of food. They need to eat too, but so
do you think that the problem of homelessness in this area in particular, is getting better or getting worse? Or
I've been going down there for a few years, so I think I'm pretty familiar with the majority of the homeless population in this city. I can't say that there's a gazillion new faces, but what I can say is it's consistent with the group that is homeless. There's not many success stories or people who are being taken off the street or who are breaking this addiction. It's that I'm trying to think of the right word for it, but a war of attrition. It's the same thing going on down there. It's the same group. So directly, no, I don't see it getting worse, but I don't see the problem
getting any better.
Definitely not getting any better, which means it's getting worse, because anytime you have an infection you're not taking care of, it's not getting better just because it's, if you get my point. So
yes. Okay. You're involved with, I believe you mentioned something about developing a group this coming weekend, I believe.
To get into recovery and addiction. That's another inlet still that we're eyeballing on getting down to the homeless. Every group we start first, and the core of it is will this actually affect and be something beneficial to them? Because there's enough Bible studies, church groups, parachurches, all those things going on. So in that sense, we're not trying to just re-mimic the same thing. We would support something already going on. What we're trying to do, without making ourselves, we have to be different. We're trying not, everything we're doing is to be different because we want it to be something eventually that I could grab the people that we're right across the street from. Mm-hmm. It seems like it just would be pointless to do anything other than that when we can see the need right there, and then we just so happen to have a building right across the street from that need. So even this group is hoping maybe we can go get them to come over there. They can hear the word, plus they can get something that's good on addiction, and maybe it'll give them a chance to, get some freedom. That freedom might lead to a lot of different stuff.
Now, your background in general lends itself to helping people because you've been there.
Oh yeah, I spent almost 12 years in prison. I've destroyed my life through addiction. I've lost my kids. I've ruined my first marriage, relationship. There's so many people that loved me that I burned behind addiction, and my family members, my parents. So I've dealt with addiction all my life, and that struggle and knowing the guilt and the shame that comes with it, and then how easy it is to get caught up in that cycle because you give up, because you don't know, you may want to fight, but you don't know how to fight. You don't know where to go to get the strength to fight. And so it becomes this depressive state. So when I see people who are homeless, and I remember being on the street, my only focus was to get my next tie. I got kids, but my only focus was to get my next tie, and it didn't matter who I burned in the process. When I think of all those days and where it led me and what God saved me out of, I'm just like those people. So, yeah.
What turned you around? When
honestly,
when did the light go on, so to speak, as far as wanting to turn your life around and be able to help others as you are doing today?
It was a vow I made to God, but it was funny because it was a vow I made when I was in the worst situation of my life, facing life in prison. Just kind of had started to sober up after being high for months in a stupor. I did a bunch of robberies, high-speed chase, hit the news, woke up in prison, and realized I was never going to get out, and made a heartfelt vow to God. And part of that vow was if he saved me, that I would obviously have to go back and go try to rescue and be a tool or a vessel for an outlet for him to rescue a bunch of people just like me, because I had got the same. So now I know personally God gives mercy. Just a lot of people that don't know that, and that's all they need to know, because it stopped me in my tracks when I realized his mercy was still available, even though I had made horrible decisions. And so how many people will it stop in their tracks if they can hear this story, if they can find out that his mercy is available in the middle of the most horriblest decisions we make willingly sometimes? It's there. And so when that sign of mercy and that show of mercy, which sounded crazy when he first told me, because I had life sentences that I still had to go to court over. And here's God saying, I'll be merciful to you if you repent. And he took me to Psalms 32, and he showed me how before the flood of waters comes that he would cover it if we have to repent. And I may be stumbling through my words, so it doesn't sound doctrinally sound, but yet it is. And so I stepped out in faith on that mercy. And you know what? I'm obviously not doing life in prison. And so when I came back out here, it was with a vow and a commitment that my lips made when I was in trouble, that I would go where he said and say what he said. And it just was funny, because he asked me to do the very thing I didn't want to do. He said, go back to where you were shameful. I thought I would go speak to all the homeless in anywhere but this area, because I was homeless, and anywhere but this area because I lost my kids. I have no reputation. And that was the very place he wanted me to come back and start from, at the very bottom of it. Because first I went to all the church. I got to become a member. He goes, no, you need to go to the area where nobody's going to right now. Not to say nobody else is, but so I went there.
In the future, where do you see yourself?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that, because I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, there are things that I feel like the Lord has told me about my future that I don't want to really, it would be too confusing to say. But I don't know. Always doing ministry, always relating to people. I like to relate to people. So.
Okay. If there was a message that you would want to give to somebody that's watching this video right now, what would it be?
I'd say that I don't know if I have a message. You worked that one back on me. That's funny. Yeah, I don't say that I have a message to anyone, but I would say trust in God. I would say that he can work out a very horrible situation, and actually bring glory out of it, and bring healing and wholeness. And I know that because he did it in my life. And there's nothing to brag about: losing kids, using drugs, high-speed chase, and making horrible decisions. But yet here I am in that community trying to repair all of that and grab people like me. So if I could say anything, I'd say if God could do that, he must be real, because that's just not normal.
Okay. If somebody wanted to get in contact with you regarding your work with the homeless, or the Celebrate Recovery group that you're starting, is there?
I have an email,
Okay.
azarmoore10@gmail.com. If you are interested in contacting me, obviously from there we could communicate a lot more easier, but that is a ready way to get in contact with me if you are interested in coordinating on anything to do with the homeless, or if you're interested in the groups. We do an intercessory group, a men's group. Those are both on Thursday at Crossroads Church, and we do a Celebrate Recovery group. We're about to start at the same church on Sunday at 1. So,
Okay. Thank you, Azar.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate you being here,
Thanks for being here.
giving your message of hope and encouragement. And this is Mark Sobowitz with a Clarion Voice. Hey, did you like what you just saw? Well, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell so that you can get notifications of future videos.